Welcome back. The fourth video, we're going to go over grandma table type questions, these, which are a lot like homework 5. So let's do it. I have a square that's 14 by 14 by 14 by 14. And I have an arc length here. So the problem states, find the perimeter of this oddly shaped object. So that would be 14 and 14 and whatever this arc length is. So it looks like a number longer than 14, but probably shorter than 20 or so. I'm not sure. Definitely shorter than 25, I guess. So notice we don't see it drawn, but there's a circle here, and I'm just using a quarter of that circle. So my arc length is a quarter, or 9/360, of whatever my circumference is. I don't want the whole circumference, I just want that portion of it. So my radius would have to be 14, diameter 28, and circumference 28 pi. So I want this portion of the circumference. Let's figure out what that would be. Okay, so I get 21.99. So it is close to, I said it's probably less than 25. I thought maybe it's more. So this distance is 21.99. So as I add them up, the perimeter is 14 plus 14 plus 21.99. Let's round. I'm going to assume that's inches. Okay. Next question. Grandma's table has a diameter of 8 feet. So radius is 4, diameter is 8, circumference is 8 pi. Area is always my radius times pi. So 4 times 4 times pi would be 16 pi. So we know already the area of this and that would make one solid circle, and the area of that would be 16 pi. So the area of my circle is 16 pi. Now the area of my square, notice the height is 8 and my width would need to be 8, so my square is 8 times 8. So 16 pi plus 64 . I am rounding 114.2, round to the nearest feet. So I guess I'm just going to round that to exactly 114 feet. You can't read that. 114 feet is the area of Grandma's table. Next question. Here we go. If the diameter of this circle was 12, then times the square root of 2, then the radius would have to be 6 times the square root of 2. Okay, and interestingly enough, whether I go vertical or horizontal, it also must be the height. That's the diameter is 12 times the square root of 2, and it also must be the width of my square, 12 times the square root of 2. So I think I have everything I need. This is a question where I take the area of my square and I cut out my circle. So the area of my square is 12 times the square root of 2 times 12 times the square root of 2. And the area of my circle would be based on my radius, and so that would only be 6 times the square root of 2 is my radius. So the area of a circle is the radius times pi. So that would be the radius, 6 times the square root of 2, times the radius, 6 times the square root of 2, times pi. So I would accept this as an answer, but I'd love it for a bonus point to get it all the way to a 10th. So let's see, 12 times 12 is 144, and the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. 6 times 6 is 36, and square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. So this would be 288, and this would be 72 pi. And again, I would also take any of these as a final answer. For bonus, though, I'd love for you to get them into the tenths form. So 288, when I subtract whatever that is, so let's figure out what that is. 72 times pi. Okay, so that's about what it is. And I like this because I don't want to get a negative. If something happens where I get a negative, I know something went wrong. Okay, and so I get 61.80, so I'm going to ground that 61.8. And I found area. Oop, back it I go. This was the area of Grandma's table, so this should be feet squared. I don't have any units, so I'm just going to put units squared. Cool? Okay, here we go. This image, the area of the shaded region would be the area of our circle minus the area of our square. So let's take a look. Our square is pretty straightforward. Our square is 32 times 32. So the area of our square is 32 times 32. Hopefully you feel pretty good about that. Now the area of my circle is a little more complicated, because if that's 32 and that's 32, then this diagonal is 32 times the square root of 2. This pattern always occurs with squares cut in half. So it looks like our diameter of our circle is 32 times the square root of 2, which means the radius would be 16 times the square root of 2. Halfway would be 16 times the square root of 2. Okay, feeling good about that. Now we have our ingredients. That must mean that our area of a circle is always radius times pi. So the area of our circle is this radius times that radius times pi. So I'm going to put that there. The radius, 16 times the square root of 2, times the radius, 16 times the square root of 2, times pi. And then I need to wiggle into my subtraction sign. We're running out of rooms because the area of my circle minus the square. So let's rewrite that. 16 times 16 is 256, and the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. I still have my pi, and again, that's a subtraction sign. 32 times 32 is 1024. So this again would be, this is a final answer, or this. Those are all looking good. For a bonus point though, I'd love it if you would finish out the problem and round to the 10th. So let's see, 256 times 2 is 530 pi minus 1024. 256 times 2, oops, 256 times 2, 512. Oops, don't know what happened there. Just fix it. 512. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. So now let's figure out what that is and round to the nearest tenth. So 512 times pi minus 1024. Doesn't give units, so I'm just going to put units squared. Best of luck on the test. Feel free to watch these videos as many times based on which of the 4 subjects you need the most help on. So there were 4 videos because there's 4 topics. Best of luck.